absolutely no shock that one of the other questions to come in was about the EWM, and has the club got contingency plans should the worst happen and EWM have to move away from what they do with the club?
Yeah, I think John Nixon gave a good kind of summary of where we are with EWM. As soon as we know anything that might affect the club, we'll obviously speak to the fans. There's no change at all since the last update, and I think he said, what was his quote? We'll cope, and I think that's a good way of putting it. If something were to happen, we're not envisaging anything happen, but if it were, I don't want to go into any details, but I think that kind of sums it up.
When you see pictures of the Palladium and there's 1,000 people there 2 nights in a row, it's focused minds on let fans in. There's a great question that came on Facebook, actually, the way it was phrased, in the fact that it's urgent. We know there's a petition that will be debated next month, or probably kicked down the line to be debated. What's happening right now for the urgent issue of getting fans in, A, because it's safe, and B, because we need it financially?
Well, what we're told is that representations are being made. The inconsistencies of the policy have been kind of put in front of the decision makers, that they're trying to get explanations of why inside the Palladium 1,000 is okay, outside Brunton Park 1,000 is not okay. These sorts of things. There's a huge amount of frustration from the league. I know that. I speak to the people who are involved in trying to get the government to understand the issues in terms of putting on a safe event and not putting as compared to anywhere else. But I think that, being my personal view, is I think it's all irrelevant. I think these are political decisions. That's my view, and therefore lobbying and all this kind of stuff, I don't think it makes much difference, especially as the rates are going up and up. So we're working on the basis of no crowds till March. That is it. No income till March, apart from 5,000 a match in terms of streaming.
So more people stream. Get on
So I mean, this is the thing. I mean, we put out the numbers, and I said that we would do that in terms of transparency. Every stream counts, but that's it. But everybody's in a difficult position, and it's easy for sometimes for us to get embroiled in the football bubble of what's happened in 5 days. But the reality is, there's places in this country where almost the lockdown, you can't cross borders almost. You can't go into Wales and all these kinds of things if you're from certain areas, and it's hitting individuals very hard. I'm not going to come out and say give us your help, because people need to look after themselves first, and we need to look after ourselves. So we've got to demonstrate as an industry and as a club that we're doing all we can, and for self-help. And if anything comes our way from our fans, we're super grateful, because we know how difficult it is for them.
Now, I know you love to be transparent on these 2 questions, which I'll combine together, but actually contractual agreements mean that we can't go into the minutiae of things like the Henderson, McCarran and Galloway deals. But I suppose I can broadly ask the question, are we in a good place if these lads progress, sell on, or make certain levels of appearances?
Yeah, I mean, the deals have been done that especially young players, that you tend to get your return and an extra cash if they're successful. So the fact that say Henderson's now around the Manchester United first team, which is fantastic for a Cumbrian, and he was here till 14. I never met him, don't know him, but it brings pride to the club. I can see it in everybody all the time. It's great to be associated with that. That will earn the club money, desperately needed money. And I'm not going to say get him in their first team, but it'd help us if he was in their first team. But you know what I mean. That's football. So we're great to see him progressing, and good luck to him. And I think this is the way that These are the hidden things. I mean, I talked about this in about, must have been April, where I said one of the ways that the EFL gains benefit from the Premier League and the pyramid comes together is things like this, is transfer fees. So the fact that a Championship club sells a player to the Premier League and for a lot of money, or a player comes through the ranks and the club earns money. That's great for everybody. Would Dean Henderson be the player he is today if he'd been at Carlisle training all those years? We'll never know. But he's been at one of the best clubs in the world training, so it can't do him any harm to be there. So that's great. The question is the balance of the rewards for that. So when you're into EPPP and a player leaves a League Two club at 13, what share of the value that exists and that player ultimately becomes worth in terms of benefit to that other club should be distributed around the game. And you're back to another cake. It's like a player development cake. If you've got one of those, how much does Carlisle United get and how much does Manchester United get? Now again, if you're Manchester United, they say, well, we want that bigger slice. And if you're Carlisle United, you say, well, please, come on, let's be a bit fairer. And this is where the EPPP comes in. But again, we go around, all these issues are connected. So the fact that agreements are done around the EPPP, again, have an impact on an individual club, but also an impact on the game. So can't look at individual, you've got to look at it all together here. And sort of say, right, well, we need to sort out clubs and we need to sort out the game. You see how it all kind of joins up. So getting to the detail, yeah, we'll earn some sell-on. We'll earn some sell-ons. Or a sell-on if he's ever sold. He's on a long-term contract, so you'd like to think you might get something from that. And we'd earn games on appearances. But it's standard. More or less all clubs are the same. And one of the plans that we've had as a club, and that most clubs have at our level, is that we have to build a bank of long-term income from transfer players, because that's there as an insurance policy in case you need it. And that's where a thriving pyramid works, because if the Premier League are taking these players and they've been successful in playing, then money filters down. But it's how much? Again, so you can see how these things are all interlinked, and over time you can see how a great deal for the Premier League on EPPP, a great deal for the Premier League on TV rights, no link with the EFL, a great deal for the Premier League on EFL Trophy. All these little individual things where there's negotiations over time all create a system of risk for the game. And then when you get a shock, all those decisions that have been made over years and years and years all come home to roost. Bang. So if you're going to fix them, this is where the longer term comes in. It's no good saying, all right, well, we'll have a license and we'll license clubs. But you've got to look at all of these things, and this is where this strategic review is, to me, is really important. Whatever, if will anything come of it, I won't predict. Just keep our options open so we're ready to gain any benefit that does.
Thank you for your time. Some extremely important questions answered. 2 extremely important questions to finish with, and I'll combine them. Favourite pizza topping and favourite flavour of crisps?
Pizza topping, no vegetarian, no cheese. Vegetarian, no cheese. That's when I'm with my family and I ask for that's the kind of reaction that they get. Then sleek under the table. Crisps, most flavours apart from Worcester sauce and prawn cocktail.
Nigel, it's been brilliant.
I thought you were going to ask me what my favourite fall record is then.
No,
no, that's for another one. Should do that.
I've forgotten who it was who asked those 2 questions, but we get asked that whenever we say, fans, have you got any
Yeah,
questions?
I think maybe I should on the when we get fans back on the playlist, maybe we should have 10 fall records for the team to run out to. That'd create a stir. All right.
Thank you.